Okay, today we're going out and we're going to do some takeoff and landings, and we're going to do a go around to show you how to go through the process of doing all those maneuvers. All right, we're going to go out and do a normal takeoff here to begin with, and we'll do a normal landing.
Laconia traffic, Warrior 405, Sierra Bravo, departing runway 8, closed traffic, Laconia.
All right, we're going to add a little power using just our rudder pedals here for really controlling the direction of the aircraft here on the ground. We're going to use all available runway, clear on final and base. We're going to come out here now and line up on the center line of the runway. Our heels are on the floor. We're going to smoothly apply power to full. Got a runway heading 080. Applying some right rudder. Engine gauges are in the green. Airspeed's coming alive. We'll rotate between 55 and 60. Got a little bit of left crosswind. There we go. We're pulling back just gently, and we're going to climb out at 79, which is VY, best rate of climb. We're applying just appropriate right rudder so the ball stays centered and trying to keep those wings level so we have coordinated flight. We want to do our crosswind turn when we're 300 feet below pattern altitude. So 1550 is pattern altitude because of the 550 feet field elevation MSL.
Traffic, Skylane 673.
So right around 1250 feet.
08, Laconia traffic.
So right around 1250 feet, we're going to start making our turn to left crosswind, though I am keeping an eye out for that traffic that's coming in. So I'm actually going to extend. There he is off my left wing. I can make that turn.
Laconia traffic, Warrior 405, Sierra Bravo, turning left crosswind, runway 8, Laconia.
Notice I'm bringing my power back because I'm almost at altitude, so I'm bringing my power back to 2,300 or 2,300. Leveling off here, my crosswind. Making sure it's clear on the 45, nobody on the 45. And I make my turn to downwind.
Laconia traffic, Warrior 405, Sierra Bravo, turning left downwind, runway 8, Laconia.
So I adjust my power again to about 22, 2,300. If I have to control the trim, I will. But basically, trying to level the plane out and keep that pattern altitude. Now the runway should be about 2/3 up the length of my wing, which it looks like it is. That's from the perspective of sitting in the left seat. I'm sitting in the right seat today, so I get some more visibility, or you have more visibility in terms of seeing the instruments as I fly. So I'm adjusting the trim. We may wind up extending out here because I've got a guy in a very wide left base. If I could slow us down a little bit. I'm trying to get my altitude down anyway, so. When our wing is abeam the numbers, we'll bring our power now back to 1,500. We'll hold this sight picture that we've got. We'll put our first notch of flaps in and let our speed get to about 85, and then we'll pitch the nose down so we stay at about 80. I might have to add a little trim to make that happen. And then I'm just holding 80 here. While I'm doing this, I'm keeping my hand on the throttle. I'm looking back at the numbers, and I see runway 8. On about 45 degrees or so to that, looking over my shoulder, I'll turn my base.
Laconia traffic, Warrior 405, Sierra Bravo, turning left base, runway 8, Laconia.
Notice I'm holding 80 all the way through the turn. All right, when I square up here for some rectangular pattern, I'll put in my second notch of flaps, and I'll pitch the plane for 75. There's 75, just pitch down just a little bit to hold it, and now we'll turn final.
Laconia traffic, Warrior 405, Sierra Bravo, turning final, number 2 to land, stop and go, Laconia.
I've overshot just a little bit because I'm trying to give room for that aircraft that's on the runway that just landed ahead of me. Again, you notice I'm holding 75 through this turn. And I see the 4 PAPI lights out there. There's 3 white, 1 red, means I'm a little bit high, holding 75. I'm adjusting my pitch and power to maintain that 75. When I know I've got the runway made, I'll put in my last notch of flaps and I'll pitch for 70. So here I am coming in at 70 knots. 80, the number 8 is my aim point, not necessarily my landing point. When I get over the numbers, I bring my power back to idle, slowly transition to level flight. My eyes move down to the horizon, and I just hold the plane up. Just keep holding up as long as I can, nice and gentle, using the rudder pedals to keep it lined up longitudinally. And then just touch down gently, let the nose come down, and slowly add the power. Slowly add the brakes. That was a normal takeoff and normal landing. Now we'll do a short field takeoff and a short field landing. I'll put 2 notches and flaps into this. We're going to keep our feet on the brakes. We'll apply full power. Once we've confirmed we got engine power, we will climb out and we'll rotate at 50 and climb out at 63 until we're clear of the obstacles, and we'll push the nose over toward VY 79 and continue to climb.
Laconia traffic, Warrior 405 Sierra Bravo, departing runway 8, closed traffic, Laconia.
So again, I'm applying full power, gently bringing it up, making sure my engine gauge is green. I'll release the brakes, heels are on the floor. I will rotate at 50 knots. Plenty of right rudder. There's 45, engine gauge green, there's 50. Gentle pull, plane comes up, hold 63 till we're clear of the obstacles. 100 feet above the ground, push the nose over, let the plane accelerate in airspeed. 1 notch of flaps, flaps up, nose up, and then the second notch, flaps up, nose up. You don't want to take those flaps out too soon. You want to have a nice positive rate of climb and your airspeed increasing. And we'll climb out at 79. Again, we're going to make our left crosswind turn when we're about 300 feet from getting to pattern altitude. So 1250, I'll make that turn.
Laconia traffic, Warrior 405 Sierra Bravo, turning left crosswind, runway 8, Laconia.
1250 feet, that's 300 feet below pattern altitude. I make my climb. Once I'm perpendicular to the runway, I'll level my wings, check my 45 that nobody's coming in, and then continue to my turn to downwind. I'll bring my power back now because I'm already at 1550. My power back to about 2300.
Laconia traffic, Warrior 405 Sierra Bravo, turning left downwind, runway 8, Laconia traffic.
So again, around 2300 RPM usually works for controlling a good cruise airspeed, which is what we want here when we're in the downwind. Again, if we look out here, the runway is about 2/3 up the length of our wing. So we're going to do a short field landing. Our aim spot will be the number 8, and we'll plan to land about the 3rd stripe before or after the number 8, just before what they call the captain bars or your touchdown zone if you're using the PAPIs. So wing is a beam the numbers. I'm bringing my power back to 1500. I'm holding the sight picture I've got out there. Even when I add my flap, first notch of flaps, I hold that sight picture, let my airspeed bleed off to about 85, and then relax the nose or put a little forward pressure nose to track 80 on this descent down. I look back behind me to see where the number 8 is, the numbers for the runway. When it's at about a 45-degree angle, I'll make my turn to base.
Laconia traffic, Warrior 405 Sierra Bravo, turning left base, runway 8, stop and go, Laconia.
During this turn, I want to hold that 80 all the way through it. I'll roll out when I'm perpendicular to the runway. Put in my second notch of flaps. Make sure I slow down to about 75. If I have to adjust my power, I will. But if I just let go of the yoke, the plane will slow down a little bit.
Laconia traffic, Warrior 405 Sierra Bravo, turning final, runway 8, Laconia.
Push that nose over a little bit to get that nose, that airspeed up a little bit. Pitching for airspeed here. And just a little bit of an overshot here because of the wind coming out of the northeast. So now I've got to slow the plane down a little bit. I'm looking at the number 8. That's going to be my aim spot, but I want to land on about the 3rd stripe beyond it. So I'm pitching again for 75. Now I've got the runway made. I'll put my last notch of flaps in. And now again, I want to be about 65 now for the short field, so I'm slowing down a little bit. So there's the number 8. That's my aim spot, not landing there. Once I cross that, I'm going to bring the power smoothly to idle and then just hold the nose off. I'm looking for the 3rd stripe. Don't want to touch down. Don't want to touch down. And then let it land. Brake, brake, brake. Flaps up. And we come to stop. We need to land within 0 to 200 feet of where we say we are. That was a short field takeoff and landing. Now we'll do a soft field takeoff and landing. Flaps. We need 2 notches of flaps for this. What we're going to do is just allow this plane to fly off the ground. When it does, we'll hold over in ground effect to accelerate to VX 63 and then climb out at 63 until we're clear of the obstacles, roughly 100 feet above the ground, and then we'll pitch the nose over toward VY 79. And as we do and have a positive climb, we'll take out the 1st notch and then the 2nd notch. So to do this maneuver, the yoke all the way back, heels on the floor, and add full power, smoothly just bring the power up. As the nose starts to pitch up like the plane wants to do a wheelie, just relax some yoke pressure, plenty of right rudder, and let the plane fly off when it's ready. Hold the nose in ground effect till you get 63, and now climb out at 63 till you're clear of the obstacles. We're clear of the obstacles, push the nose over, get a pause rate climb, the airspeed's accelerating, first notch of flaps, and then the last notch, and climb out at 79. Again, we're going to make our turn to crosswind when we're 300 feet below pattern altitude, roughly 1,250 feet.
Laconia traffic, Warrior 405 Sierra Bravo, turning left crosswind, runway 8, Laconia.
There we are. We're going to make our turn. We're going to roll out when we're perpendicular to runway. Check our 45 that nobody's coming in on the 45 of the downwind, then make our turn to left downwind.
Laconia traffic, Warrior 405 Sierra Bravo, turning left downwind, runway 8, Laconia.
We're approaching altitude, pitching those over just a little bit so we don't climb anymore, and bringing our power back to 2,300. We definitely have a bit of a northeast wind that's pushing us toward the runway. That's why the last couple final turns to final were a little bit overshot. We can make those a little sooner or make the turns a little steeper. So a soft field landing is about coming in at the lowest or shallowest vertical speed that we can. Our vertical speed descent rate should probably be about 300 to 100 feet per minute descent rate. And when we touch down, we want to basically protect the nose. Let it land on the main wheels and then just hold the nose off till it slows down. Here we are being the numbers. The power's coming back. First, we put our first notch of flaps in. And we're just going to allow the speed to bleed off to about 85, push the nose over. And now we're just going to let the plane come down at 80 knots. Then we look for the 45.
Laconia traffic, Warrior 405 Sierra Bravo, turning left base, runway 8, close traffic, Laconia.
Want to hold roughly 80 knots through here. I'm a little bit fast. I'm just putting a little bit of yoke pressure back, staying coordinated all the time while I do this. Here's my 80. Second notch of flaps. Let's turn final.
Laconia traffic, Warrior 405 Sierra Bravo, turning final, runway 8, stop and go, Laconia.
To be at 75 through this turn, coming in, making this turn just a little bit sooner so I don't overshoot. Now again, in the soft field, we just need to touch down softly and protect the nose and let it roll. Don't want to drop the nose as soon as we land. We're at 75 knots roughly. Got power almost to idle because we got so much climb capability. Put the last notch of flaps in. Now we're going to pitch for 65. Again, we do not need to hit a particular spot. So I'm slowly letting this plane slow down to 65. There we are. Once I get close to it, push the nose over. Now as I come down here, I don't want to land hard. I might add just a touch of power for a brief second. And now I bring my power smoothly to idle and just slowly pull the nose back. Just keep holding off. Hold it. Just don't want the plane to land. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. And just keep that nose protected. Now let the nose come down and then just let it roll. That's all you got to do for a soft field landing. Do a short field takeoff. Doing our flow, left tank, still the fullest, key on both, primer locked, engine gauge is green, mixture's rich, fuel landing, collision lights are on, carb heat off, flaps at 2 notches on both.
Laconia traffic, Warrior 405 Sierra Bravo, departing runway 8, close traffic, Laconia.
All right, feet on the brakes, apply power, full power. Engine gauges are green, heels on the floor. Right, just using mostly right rudder here. There's basically no wind. If I had a little bit of aileron, I might have a little bit to the left because of the northeast wind, but it's very light. At 50, we rotate, just a little bit of back pressure, climb up. Keep the wings level, the ball centered, climb at 63 to clear the obstacles. Then push the nose over, let the airspeed accelerate. It gets towards 70, first notch, flaps, flaps up, nose up. Flaps up, nose up. When I say flaps up, nose up, just ever so lightly back pressure on the yoke so that you don't sink. Now we're going to climb out at 79. Now what we're going to do is do a go around here. This is when we're coming in for landing. We don't have a stable approach. There's somebody on the runway and we feel like we need to do a go around. We'll go through that process. All right, we're at pattern altitude, 1,550 feet. Trimmed out nicely. We're about 2,200. The plane is in cruise. The plane will really fly itself a lot of the times. You don't have to be over controlling it. Usually 3 fingers and a thumb on the yoke is all you need, and your hand on the throttle, especially in the pattern, climbing or descending. The hand always stays on the throttle. So we're going to do a go around here. We're going to come in like we're going to land, but then we're going to say this is not working out right. It's not stable. We've overshot the runway, and we simply just going to do a go around. All right. Power is coming back to 1,500. We're being the numbers. First notch of flaps. And we're just holding the sight picture till we slow down to about 85. Then a little pressure on the yoke to bring it forward to stay at 80. Just hold 80. Looking for the numbers to be about 45 or so degrees behind our shoulder.
Laconia traffic, Warrior 405 Sierra Bravo, turning left base, runway 8, Laconia traffic.
And again, I'm a little bit fast. I just put a little bit of back pressure, which will slow me down. I'm pitching for the airspeed. There's my 80, just hold it there again. I'm on the base, second notch of flaps, pitching for 75. The plane will slow down to 75 and slower if I don't add a little bit of forward pressure. Turn final.
Laconia traffic, Warrior 405 Sierra Bravo, turning final, runway 8, low approach only, Laconia.
All right, I'm going to put my last notch of flaps in. I'm high. Here's a good example. Maybe I'm high. Maybe I've just kept this really too high from what I need to be. Now I could do a forward slip to get down, but that's not what I really want to show here. But we've got it at 65. We're controlling it as if, and trimmed out for that, as if I'm coming in for a landing. Power's about 1,500, and you can see it's very stable, just like flying by itself. So you can do these go-arounds anywhere time you want. Even you could actually touch the ground, but it's best to make a decision on a go-around sooner rather than later. So let's say we're going to do a go-around at this point. Full power. Control the yoke, let you pitch up, but not too much. Control yourself from getting too slow. Stabilized approach climbing out. Take out 1 notch of flaps. Continue to climb. Pause ready to climb. Second notch. And then third notch. And climb out at 79.
Laconia traffic, Warrior 405 Sierra Bravo, going around. Close traffic, runway 8. Laconia.
So you see there I communicated after I did my aviate, my navigate, and then I communicated. So now we're going to do a short field landing. Altitude's a little bit low. My power is pretty good. I'm going to trade a little bit of airspeed. My airspeed's a little fast. Just let the plane climb a little bit. I'll slow down the airspeed. I'll get my altitude back up to 1,550. When it's there, I'll just push forward a little bit on the yoke, just a very light pressure. And if I need to adjust my power, I will at that point. But here I am about 90, 95 knots of airspeed, and I'm about 1,550. So for the short field landing, we're planned to aim for the numbers 8 and land at the third stripe beyond the number 8. We're being the numbers, the power is going to 1,500, keeping the sight picture there. First notch of flaps. And we're just going to hold that sight picture until we get to about 85, then relax the nose. But if you have to put a little forward pressure on it, you do that to hold 80 on this descent down. We're going to look behind ourselves for the numbers. They should be about 45 degrees or a little bit more beyond us before we make our turn to base.
Laconia traffic, Warrior 405 Sierra Bravo, turning left base, runway 8, full stop, Laconia.
Roll through this turn. We're holding our 80 through the turn. We roll out on our base, put the second notch of flaps. The plane would want to just push up, so you have to flaps up, flaps down, nose down in this case. So we push for 75.
Laconia traffic, Warrior 405 Sierra Bravo, turning final, runway 8, full stop, Laconia.
Just push the nose down just a little bit to stay more toward that 75. That second notch of flaps in. And the 8 is going to be your aim spot. It should grow in the same spot on the windscreen in front of me. I'm trying to hold 75 through here for the moment, but now that I'm stable, last notch of flaps, I'll bring my power back, and now I'm going to be pitching for 65 knots for this short field landing. Pitching for 65, I'm adjusting my power, my pitch and power to hold 65. There it is, bringing the power up just a little bit to stay at 65. The H should be growing in the same spot on my screen. That's my aim spot, it's not my landing spot. My landing spot is going to be the third stripe. If it's sinking, I'm going to add more power. See, I'm adding power to the rest of the descent. I get back on track. Now slowly bring my power out as I cross. Let the nose come down. Hold it off. Hold it off. And there is my touchdown spot. And then apply the brakes gently. Brake, brake, brake. Flaps come up. And then we just gently add more pressure in the brakes so we can get off here at echo.